about astrology. I know you guys are talking about your rising signs. One thing in modern astrology that I feel like is a bit of a misconception, or not a misconception because it's true, but it minimizes it a bit, is the importance of your rising sign. So your rising sign, it does affect your appearance. It totally does all of those things that modern tells you that it does. It's also the most important part of your chart. And I feel like the reason that it's a little bit less emphasized is because it's not as accessible to people, because not everybody knows when they were born. You have to have the right time for the rising. And if you don't know when you were born, then you might be like, well, then I don't know how to do any of this. One thing I can tell you, well, everybody here knows, but if you know anyone who doesn't know when they were born, there is a method of figuring it out. If you go to an astrologer, if you even have like a window of time, like several hours, I can kind of reverse engineer it for you based on life events. So you can still figure it out. But the rising sign is so important. And if you're ever, one thing that I always tell my clients, like to get the most out of horoscopes and astrology content in general, is check for your rising sign first and foremost. You can check for your sun and moon, but the rising sign is going to be, horoscopes are usually about how it's going to affect your life, right? And your rising sign, it creates the first house, and from there it's 2, 3, 4, 5 until it gets to 12, right? Each one has a connotation of a part of your life. So according to the rising sign is how you know if it's going to affect the home life or your job or your siblings or your health. And so there is some truth to the sun and moon, and you can totally look at those, but I'm gonna ask you guys to really focus on the rising because that's how I calculate it. Okay, so 2026 is a huge year for astrology. I'm gonna kind of talk about the overall vibe before I get to more specifics of how it'll be affecting your life, because it's affecting the macro just as much as it affects the micro. So globally we'll see it, nationally we'll see it, and our communities will see it, and it's going to affect everybody in a different way, but it's affecting everything. It's in the air, so it's important to just know what that energy is. It is a huge reset. There is a bunch of outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, nodes. It is the year of the fire horse. There's also Neptune and Pluto, all these planets that take years and years and years to move. They're all moving at the same time. And that doesn't normally happen because they're not usually synced up like that. Usually it's like, oh, Pluto moves, and that's a big shift, right? Uranus moves, wow, that's a big shift. We're having in 2026 a very rare moment in history where there are a bunch of outer planets shifting. And outer planets affect the world, the culture, society, what's possible in general and around you and your like smaller environment as well, because it affects the energy around you. And it affects you too as well, but the outer planets specifically are so much more about eras and just an overall vibe shift and like globally. So it's a big deal, and it does mean on a personal level that a lot of things are possible right now that have not been possible for a long time. This is an overview of all of the big ones that are happening, but I'll just say that as far as I'm not a Chinese astrologer, full disclosure, so the fire horse here, I know about that and I'll tell you about it, but most of what we'll be discussing is Western astrology. All of the Western astrology is very intense, and it actually aligns very well with the fire horse year of Chinese astrology that is beginning tomorrow. They all say the same thing. The theme is absolute restructuring of our structures in society and time acceleration. If things has felt like they kind of sat still for a while, I feel like a lot of people have had the same sentiment, like since 2020, it's like, you can't believe it's been 6 years, right? It's not, that time isn't moving, time is not linear. We experience time in a certain way, and what I'm saying is we're about to be experiencing it very differently. So let me get into it. So the first shift that I want to talk about, an intense moment this year, is February 17th. That's in 2 days from now. One just also happened 2 days ago. So February 17th is when, number one, we're going from the year of the snake to the year of the fire horse. It was the wood snake, which was releasing, shedding, and preparing for something, planning. There wasn't a lot of energy that allowed us to, you have free will, but astrology can hinder things or make them a lot easier. And as far as the wood snake year went, it was a lot harder to get things moving. It was a lot more about sitting with things and shedding what needed to be shed so that you have more of a clean slate to move forward. The fire horse is the absolute opposite vibe. We are taking off, like running. It's gonna be, which is great because it facilitates, say you plant a seed, it's gonna grow very fast. Whereas maybe last year you had to really keep trying with something and it kept kind of not growing the way that you wanted it to. This year it's about to change. So it lands between Saturn entering Aries and this Saturn-Neptune conjunction and this Aquarius solar eclipse. All of these are happening in the next few days, and one of them just happened a couple days ago, so we're right smack in the middle of it. If you've been feeling it since Friday, I felt it in my nervous system. I woke up and was like, I could feel it in my bones. I don't know about you guys.
I couldn't sleep last night at all.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fire. We're going from water and earth to fire and air, and in tarot and in alchemy and in astrology, they all intersect, and water and earth are much more calming, intuitive, about connection. Fire and air are about movement, destruction, necessary destruction, also creation. Getting things around. Air is all about getting some information from right here to the other side of the world, rather than it being, say, water in the sense of more of an intuition, wisdom type of thing. And we need both of those energies, but it's important to note that we have been in a very, much more of a lull for a while. And we knew things were going on, a lot of news is dropping and everybody's a little enraged about one thing or another. A lot of things have been exposed to us, and yet a lot of us are thinking, nothing's happening though. So we can see all of this stuff happening. We can know that a shift needs to come. We know that changes need to come. We see things and it's for whatever reason, we're stuck in the mud. You know what I mean?